Mom guilt.
Mom guilt, the worst of all guilts. So just to address my new mamas, I don't know when you go from new mama to mama, because I think it's somewhere around 0 years old to 1 year old maybe, but new mom guilt is just an introduction of what you will experience for really maybe till like you die, because I don't know how to not experience it, but I have learned how to handle it and process it a little better. New mom guilt happens because A, you've never done this before. B, every kid's different. Like, it's super easy to get in your head when you're sleep deprived, which you are during those first 12 to 36 months. You know what I mean? I'm currently still experiencing that. Does MK still wake up in the middle of the night and come to my room? Yeah. Is that on me for not sleep training her and like being like, you go to bed in your room? Yeah. That is mom guilt. You see, it's just so natural. I don't even mean to tell you about it, but I do. Honestly, that really only happened after the divorce because I didn't want to sleep alone. And also, there was no other bed in the apartment. There was only one air mattress. And I was not going to sleep on the floor. Then it was just kind of like a comfort blanket to sleep with MK at that point. But then I feel mom guilt for not giving her this like sleeping schedule. I mean, I'm going into this because it can literally be any single thing ever that you do. What's helped me get rid of this idea of mom guilt is the idea that she just wants my attention. She just wants to be heard. She just wants to have fun. She's a kid. She wants to live her life, and she's going to do that, and she's going to be okay. Whether I sleep trained her at 3 or not, she's going to be fine. I've had friends who have kids. One was really strict, sleep training. It's okay. It's not going to, change your kid's personality or how they turn out. It might affect your sleep though. Just like no one child is the same, no one parent is the same either. So we all do it differently. We all feel different ways about what's right or what's wrong, how we want to teach our kids, what kind of lessons we want them to learn at what ages, how we want them to learn them. Like, everything's different. Think about how people live their lives. Everyone lives their lives completely differently than you. And everyone has their own life completely separate from you. Don't compare yourself. My mom guilt stems from getting a divorce. So everything, like, MK was a little bit speech delayed. I was like, oh, it's because I got a divorce. I did this to her. She doesn't even want to talk about it. Every kid develops at a different age. And that was really hard for me to grasp, but it's so true. Some kids are reading earlier. Some kids are talking earlier. Some kids are walking earlier. Every child is different. Do not compare, especially when it comes to your kids and how you parent. Learn, grow from, and listen, but do not compare. My brother and I were both raised by my mom and my dad, but we're totally different people. Like, I don't even know who that guy is. No, I do. I love him. But we're so different. Like, when I went to visit him in college, he's like, hey, here are my 18 friends just chilling in my dorm. They're my best friends. I'm like, what? I had 2 friends. We were like this. Not 18. That would give me anxiety, and I would throw up on all 18 people because I would not want to be there. But he loves it. He's like the life of the party, and he's very outgoing. It's exhausting just like looking at him interact with people sometimes. I'm like, whoa. But we were raised the same way, and he was a completely different child than I was. He had completely different things he wanted to achieve, things he was good at. We're fine. We're all fine. I feel like my parents thought they really dropped the ball with me when I was like, hey, I'm pregnant. Because I just wanted to make my parents proud. So whether you're a single mom or a stay-at-home mom or a working mom, because you can be any of these things, you don't really have anyone telling you, hey, you're doing a really great job. You know, when you were driving the car and the kids were freaking out in the back and you kept your cool and used that to teach them a lesson, that was really awesome of you. Like, you fist bump, girl. Or, hey, you know, when they threw their food on the floor and you kept your cool and used that to teach them a lesson? Hey, awesome job. So, you know, when you were exhausted and had a really long day at work, but you came home and put a smile on your face anyways? That's a big deal. And that's something they won't forget. No one's really going to celebrate those little wins, so you have to do that to yourself. Like, I compliment myself a lot parenting. Like, wow, Kat, you are such a fun and cool mom. You are playing dolls, and you are really immersed in your character. In fact, you are method acting, and that is really impressive. Good job. I just like complimenting myself because no one does it. And I don't need anyone to do it. And neither do you, or I'll do it for you. Great job, mama. We can beat ourselves up about the little things, or we can focus on the bigger picture. And if you're showing up for your kids and putting your best foot forward most of the time, they're going to know, and they're going to see that, and they're going to feel that. And that's going to transpire into something that's going to result in a beautiful relationship with you guys. Them admiring you, looking up to you, them learning from you, seeing you set an example on how to live life, how to treat others, how to treat yourself. It's kind of the macro, not the micro here, because if you really focus on the micro, I sound like Gary Vee. It's all about the macro. Work 20 hours a day and sleep for 1 hour. And then the other 3 hours, have fun. You're never going to fail your child if you love them unconditionally and you do what's right. You put in your best effort. I remember kind of judging my mom for how she would parent me and thinking like, when I'm a mom, I'm never going to do this, or not understanding certain things she would do. Now that I'm a mother and now that I've grown up and gone through more of life, I completely understand her in a totally different light. And I appreciate her in more ways than I could have ever thought possible. Like my mom and I have lived very parallel lives. She also got a divorce when I was young from my biological dad. We had the same divorce lawyer. My stepdad, who actually is my dad, but it was interesting for me. I felt like the universe was kind of like, okay, let me just put you in her shoes for a second. You can't really judge. And I've said this before, I think anyone I've ever judged or any situation I've judged, I've somehow been put into that exact situation. When I would see other single moms and I would think like, I'm never gonna do that. I'm gonna stay in the marriage. I'm gonna stay. And like, who was I to judge something I had no idea about? I judged it because I wished, my dad was more involved, my biological dad. So I knew that as a child I thought I knew that I could control that having this like perfect family, but I couldn't. The majority of my mom guilt stems from deciding to get a divorce. Oh my God. Look, you guys, it's a baby. Okay, I love you. Bye. Sorry, that was my friend Zenny. She just had her baby. That was just really exciting. Goosebumps. Back to mom guilt. Letting yourself know, hey, you did a good job. Yes, your children's needs come first, but also if you're giving them a lot of your time and you need a second, like take a minute. Do you want 3 hours? Do you want 3 days? Yeah. But you're not going to get that. Let's just be real. We're really real and honest here. Unless you have like a nanny, then you're awesome. But you're not going to get that. So really settle for those 30 minutes and just soak them all up and just take advantage of every single second. You want 3 hours, you want 3 days, you get 30 minutes. And what that looks like is different for everyone. Sometimes it's waking up 30 minutes earlier. Like, oh no, I need my sleep. No, you need those extra 30 minutes because that's going to tell you what the rest of your day is going to look like. I didn't realize how crucial it was to really start my day off good because it changes the rest of my day. It changes how I feel about myself. It changes how productive I am. It changes the ideas I have creatively. It sets a precedent. I found that really helps me. My mom has insomnia. I also have it. I can function better than I think my friends can, which then in turn lets you show up better for your kids and for their needs and even everyone else in your life, your family, your friends, because mom guilt isn't all the relationships. It's all connected. Like if I'm going out with my friends to maintain those relationships and I miss out on time with MK, I'm going to experience mom guilt. I did a TikTok about this. I went out one time after MK fell asleep and my mom was watching her. Someone recognized me and I was like, hey, just so you know, MK's with my mom. And she was like, don't ever feel the need to justify where your child is just because you're out having fun without them. And I was like, oh, never mind. I'll have a margarita. And even when you are married and you have kids, like it's important to be aware of the fact that you need to nurture that relationship. Like it's okay to take the Friday date night away from your kids and spend it on yourself. Because again, it's not about this micro thing in the moment you're missing out on time right then with them and doing, no, it's this macro result that's going to happen and it's going to nurture your relationship with your partner. From past experience, that's what I would really be conscientious about and more intentional with if I was to do it again. It's taking responsibility for yourself in a level that's just being more self-aware and cognizant that like you're always catering to them and what they need, blah, blah, blah. And then you can forget to eat sometimes, right? And then when you forget to eat, you get hangry. And when you get hangry, you can snap at them for something you normally wouldn't. Then you feel guilty for snapping. But then, it's just taking care of yourself, A, prevents a lot of that mom guilt, and B, helps you process it in a different way. For example, when I went out with my girlfriends, understanding like, hey, I'm experiencing mom guilt because I'm not with MK. And MK was freaking asleep. Understanding like, hey, I'm nurturing this relationship because I'm putting myself first here because at the end of the day, this is going to make me a better person altogether. Because I think nurturing like friendships with girlfriends are so important. It just helps me a lot. So that's your community. And my community looks a little different because my main girlfriends don't have kids. They are my support. Like they'll tell me like, you're such a good mom. And they'll say it rarely, like not rarely, but they don't always say it. But when they do, it's like, Thank you for saying that. When they have kids, they're going to be like, Kat, like what? How'd you do that? Because they're so sweet. I love them. Basically, the sole message of this is that when you realize that you need to put yourself first sometimes, having that intuition and understanding of what you need as a woman, as a mom, as a friend, as a human being, helps you rationalize and change the perspective of this mom guilt and process it in a different way that shows you, hey, I really have nothing to feel guilty about. Maybe I just miss her right now. I just miss her. That's it. And that's okay to miss someone. That means you love them. It's a good thing. I just thought this was an important video to highlight on because it's something every mom experiences. And I don't want that to hold you back from becoming the best version of yourself. I don't want mom guilt to lead to you losing yourself as a mother, making that become your identity instead of taking control of how you take care of yourself, what you think about yourself. It's all really interconnected in a way that I didn't realize how big it was until I experienced it in so many different situations, in a marriage, in a divorce, in post-divorce, in dating, in breaking up, like in going out with friends, in having her, and it's everything. At the end of the day, it's just super overwhelming. I want this video to be a reminder that if you unconditionally love your baby, they're going to be fine. Like they're going to be okay. That's all you really want. Like if you think about when you were a kid, my mom loved me unconditionally, and that's all I wanted. What you see and what your child sees are like night and day, right? Let's say you didn't really, not manage your day, but you had a really busy day and you didn't have time to make dinner, right? So instead of dinner, you're just going to have breakfast for dinner. And instead of you thinking like, wow, I'm a bad mom for giving my kids breakfast again, but for dinner, they're like, this is so cool. We're eating pancakes and eggs and bacon. So when I was on the air mattress, those initial first few months moving in, I was like, MK probably just thinks this is a sleepover. She just thinks this is a really, really long sleepover slumber party. In that moment, honestly, furniture was not the priority. It was more like organizing everything else and sorting all that out. And the most beautiful part of motherhood I've found is turning my mistakes and kind of making them into magical moments and unforgettable moments. That's what has helped me in those super hard times where I'm literally the worst mom. There were times when I was like, I should have stayed in my marriage so she wouldn't have to cry when she leaves me. She could just be with me all the time, because that was literally my one job when I decided to follow through with my pregnancy, was to be there for her all the time. But that's a micro thought. That's in that moment just because you miss her. And then you look and you take a step back and you think about what that would look like in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And then you realize, all right, wait, that would not have been better for her because it wouldn't have been better for me. And those two are intertwined. I kind of just want to leave off with that. And I want you to know, you are doing amazing. You're doing great. I know you feel mom guilt sometimes. I know you do, because so do I. But you're doing amazing. Sometimes you need to hear it from someone else, but most of the time you just need to make sure you tell yourself that. And you mean it. You're not just like, okay, good job. No. I'm proud of myself because this is hard, but I'm doing it. And I'm having fun. And I wouldn't have it any other way right now. You're doing great. I hope this doesn't come off cheesy, but I would have liked to hear this too. I'm going to watch myself saying this to me and be like, oh, I am doing great. Thank God. But I do think this is a really important message to hone in on and spread awareness about, because I feel like it impacts so much more than just feeling guilty in a moment. It impacts the rest of your life and what it looks like for you and your kid. And we only have a limited amount of time with them when they're babies. So let's not spend that time being guilty. And let's spend that time being awesome, okay? And making magical, fun memories and moments. I love you guys. This one hit really close to home, so I'm really glad we get to talk about this. This is why I love YouTube, So I can just talk about this stuff. I just sit on the couch with my little mic, hitting my face sometimes, and just talk about it. Fun. Okay. I love you guys. Bye.